Hello YouTube, Expensive Cardboard here, bringing you guys my updated post Phantom Nightmare Traptrix deck profile. So let's get started. So I'm running 3 copies of Pedicula, as well as 3 copies of Romelio. These are the main Traptrix monsters you want to see in your hand as quickly as possible. In addition, I'm also running 3 copies of Mantis. Mantis helps to search out your other Traptrix monsters, so that's another one that you want to see in your opening hand as quickly as possible. Next, for your 2-ofs, I'm running 2 copies of Dionea, as well as 2 copies of Arachnicampa. Dionea is great because she helps you to summon your Traptrix monsters from your grave, and Arachnicampa can help you combo off. She's basically a combo extender. And then for your honorary Traptrix monster, I'm running 3 copies of Parallel Exceed. Just works very well with the deck, helps you to get into your rank 4 engine as quickly as possible. And then for our hand traps, we are running 3 copies of Ash Blossom. We're also running 3 copies of Dimension Shifter. So I think Dimension Shifter is going to be really important in this format because a lot of the decks in this format are the fire-based archetypes such as Snake Eyes, Rescue Ace, Fire Kings, Snake Eye Fire Kings. So basically what D-Shifter will do is that it'll essentially like force your opponent to skip their turn. Otherwise, they're going to have to lose a lot of resources to make their plays. And in addition to the Ash and D-Shifter, I'm running 3 copies of Imperm. Again, it just it has great synergy with the deck and just a great hand trap overall. Next up for your spells, we only have a few spells in this deck. The first time we're running your Traptrix Garden, which is your field spell. You don't necessarily need it all the time, but when you do have it on the field, it helps you to extend your plays. We're also running 2 copies of Regeki, as well as 1 Harpy's Feather Duster. Just good board breakers overall. And then for your 1-of Call by the Grave, pretty much essential. Sadly, this card's only limited. You can only run 1 copy. But this is a great card for every deck now because especially with those pesky hand traps. But yeah. Next up is your trap lineup. You're going to be running 3 copies of Traptrix Holotea. So this is the most important trap card in the deck because not only is it a combo extender, but it can also help bring back Traptrix monsters from the graveyard, which is very, very useful. Next, you're running 2 copies of Floodgate Trap Hole and 2 copies of Gravedigger's Trap Hole. Floodgate is great because you can use that to keep your opponent from Synchro, Xyz, or Link summoning by flipping them face down. And Gravedigger's Trap Hole is excellent in this format because there are a lot of fire decks going around. So you want to be able to negate those monster effects in the graveyard, and they can also punish your opponent from playing their hand traps. So that's pretty nice. I'm also running 2 copies of Bottomless Trap Hole and 2 copies of Trap Hole Nightmare. Bottomless is especially underrated in this format due to Branded Chimera being a threat. So if you can get rid of their Fallen of Albaz before they get to resolve it, that would be very useful. And Trap Hole Nightmare is just a standard effect negation. Next, for extra deck, you're running 3 copies of Sarah, the bread and butter of the deck. You cannot run Traptrix without this card at all. So we're running 1 Traptrix Calaria and 1 Adipus. Calaria is really important in this version of the deck because it helps you to abuse your trap hole cards by allowing it to reset face down instead of sending it to the graveyard. And Adipus is essentially the decode talker for Traptrix. Is it as great as decode talker? Not really, but it gets the job done. Next, we are running 1 Masquerena as well as 1 Nightmare Unicorn. I'm not running SP Little Knight because that's a very pricey card. But if you're on a budget like me, you could just run like Nightmare Unicorn instead, which is still a great interruption in today's meta. We're also running 1 Underworld Goddess just to deal with those pesky towers and those boss monsters. Except for rank 4 Xyz, we are running 2 copies of Rafflesia. Essentially the most important rank 4 in the deck. She can essentially allow the Traptrix player to play their trap hole cards directly from their deck, which is pretty awesome. Next, we are running 1 Pingula and 1 Alamerus. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing the Pingula correctly. They're not the most important pieces in the deck, but they do come up every now and then. Next up is Abyss Dweller. Really important this format, especially with those fire decks. Easily can help prevent any interaction from the graveyard. Next, we're running 1 Time Thief Redoer as well as 1 Zeus. Time Thief Redoer is really good in Traptrix because of your Holotea. So this can be a good way to bounce cards from your opponent's board. And Zeus is a great board breaker overall. Next up is your side deck. We're running 2 copies of Sticky String and 1 Mystery Dust Kaiju. I decided to put in the Mystery Dust because it can also use that as a way to extend your combos so you can link off into your Traptrix link monsters. And they're also, Kaijus are just great board breakers overall. Also deal with a lot of threats. Next up, we are running 2 copies of Cosmic Cyclone, as well as 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talent. Cosmic Cyclone, self-explanatory, helps to get rid of those back row cards, that especially the ones that have graveyard interaction. And Triple Tactics Talent is just another great board breaker. Next, I decided to run 2 copies of Torrential Tribute. I decided to put this in instead of evenly matched. 1, Traptrix have really good trap protection, so they can't really be affected by traps that much. So I decided instead of just using evenly matched, which only does so much on the board, I thought Torrential Tribute would be a better fit, especially if it affects my opponent more than it affects me. And to help slow other decks down, I want to run 3 copies of Anti-Spell Fragrance. Anti-Spell Fragrance, sorry. My voice cracked for a second. But yeah, essentially, Fragrance can help slow combo decks down by essentially turning your opponent's spell cards into trap cards. And especially that your deck only has so many spell cards in it, it's not really going to affect you that much. Next, we are running 3 copies of Dimensional Barrier, especially good against branded Chimera in a lot of those fusion decks, and then there are combo decks as well. just stops their plays. And that is it for my Traptrix deck profile. Thank you guys for watching this video. Please like and subscribe for future Yu-Gi-Oh content. And you have a great rest of your day. Take care. Bye-bye.